And here is the Writer's Almanac for Friday, the 10th of September, 2021. It's the birthday of Cyril Connolly, born in Whitley, England, 1903, who wrote two great books about the misery of not being able to write great books. The Enemies of Promise and The Unquiet Grave came out in the late 30s and mid-40s. It's the birthday of the poet Mary Oliver, born in Maple Heights, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland, in 1935. About her childhood, she said, "It was a very dark and broken house that I came from, and I escaped it barely, with years of trouble." She was reading John Keats, Emily Dickinson, taking long walks in the woods by her house, writing poems. She said, "I got saved by poetry and by the beauty of the world." Her first collection of poetry, No Voyage and Other Poems, came out when she was 28 to great acclaim. Mary Oliver, whose books are bestsellers, Dream Work, Blue Horses, Felicity, American Primitive. Mary Oliver, who said, "One thing I do know is that poetry, to be understood, must be clear. It mustn't be fancy. I have the feeling that a lot of poets writing now sort of tap dance through it. I always feel that whatever isn't necessary shouldn't be in a poem." One of her poems, The Summer Day, ends with the line, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" When an interviewer asked Mary Oliver what she planned to do with her wild and precious life, Oliver said, "Used a lot of pencils." It's the birthday of Hannah Webster Foster, born Salisbury, Massachusetts, 1758, who was a best-selling novelist back in the 18th century with her novel The Coquette, or The History of Eliza Wharton. It was the story of a minister's daughter who becomes pregnant out of wedlock and dies after giving birth to a stillborn child at a roadside tavern, based on a true story of a relative of Hannah Foster's husband. The man who impregnated her was Pierpont Edwards, son of the famous preacher Jonathan Edwards. And it's the birthday of the biologist and science historian Stephen Jay Gould, Queens, New York, 1941, author of essays explaining complicated scientific theories in a way that most people can understand them. Stephen Jay Gould, who argued that science and religion should not be viewed as opposed to each other, but simply distinct from each other, non-overlapping disciplines that shouldn't be used to try to explain aspects of the other. Here's a poem for today by Robert Louis Stevenson. I will make you brooches and toys for your delight of birdsong at morning and starshine at night. I will make a palace fit for you and me of green days in forests and blue days at sea. I will make my kitchen, and you shall keep your room where white flows the river and bright blows the broom. And you shall wash your linen and keep your body white in rainfall at morning and dewfall at night. And this shall be for music when no one else is near, the fine song for singing, the rare song to hear, that only I remember, that only you admire, of the broad road that stretches and the roadside fire. I Will Make You Brooches, poem by Robert Louis Stevenson. That's the Writer's Almanac for Friday, September the 10th. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.